let's move on to the second part of the webinar, which focuses on rating the certainty of evidence in rapid reviews. So most importantly, do not omit rating the certainty of evidence. So rating the certainty of evidence is an important methodological part of any Cochrane rapid review. For systematic reviews and also for rapid reviews, Cochrane recommends the GRADE approach. And we recommend, if time and other resources permit, we encourage to use the full GRADE approach as recommended for Cochrane systematic reviews. However, in the next slides, I will discuss several options how to expedite the application of GRADE. And also remember, Cochrane provides extensive training material on GRADE. So I'd like to begin with some key recommendations for ensuring consistency in using GRADE. GRADE now has become an internationally recognized standard which most knowledge users can interpret. So our primary recommendation really is to avoid altering the core elements of GRADE. And what do we mean with this? In rapid reviews, just as in systematic reviews, always rate the certainty of evidence at the outcome level rather than at the study level. Also, maintain the established categories of certainty of evidence rating, so high, moderate, low, very low. So for instance, do not merge low and very low certainty of evidence into a single category. And also maintain the domains that determine the certainty of evidence ratings. GRADE specifies 5 domains that may lower the certainty of evidence and 3 that can increase certainty of evidence, especially in non-randomized studies. And simplifying the GRADE approach by omitting any domains is not recommended. And also for rapid reviews, we recommend the use of summary of findings tables with explanatory footnotes that provide reasons for up and down rating. And the footnotes are really important elements of GRADE because they ensure transparency, and they also should be part of any rapid review. And we also strongly recommend the use of GRADE Pro. So GRADE Pro is a free software to rate certainty of evidence, and using GRADE Pro increases efficiency and also consistency when rating certainty of evidence. And now on to recommendations how to expedite the application of GRADE. And again, it is important to note that the following recommendations are merely options for consideration. Their implementation is not mandatory for Cochrane rapid reviews. So the first recommendation is use informal judgments to rate the importance of outcomes. So for rating the importance of outcomes for decision-making, GRADE guidance recommends either a literature review or a formal Delphi approach. So for example, knowledge users would rate the importance of outcomes on a Likert scale from 1 to 9. And then outcomes rated as critical for decision-making would be graded. And this approach works well, however, it is also really time-consuming. And to expedite the process, consider relying on informal assessments from knowledge users, from internal team members, to prioritize which outcomes should be graded. So this would mean moving away from the formal Delphi method or conducting another review and just having an internal team rate the certainty of evidence, rate the importance of evidence. There is free software that facilitates a quick and informal assessments of outcome importance. We've just listed a few examples here of free software with which this can be done easily. The next recommendation is limit the number of comparisons and outcomes for which the certainty of evidence is assessed. So I emphasized earlier that engagement with end users is important. And at this stage, when you rate the certainty of evidence, it can really help you focus on outcomes that are most important for end users. And GRADE guidance recommends to use no more than 7 outcomes, but for rapid reviews, consider even fewer than 7 outcomes. It is really more important that both benefits and harms are represented in your outcomes. GRADE also advises that 2 separate reviewers independently assess the certainty of evidence. This ensures a balanced and robust rating of the certainty of evidence, but it is also pretty time-consuming. So for a more expedited approach, consider appointing a single reviewer to initially rate the certainty of evidence. And then a second reviewer, ideally a senior reviewer with great experience, should then confirm all the rating decisions and the underlying rationales for up and down rating that should be documented in the footnotes. And this approach can significantly reduce the time to completion while still providing some level of quality assurance. And if you are using a well-conducted review as the base of a rapid review, and this review used GRADE, then consider relying on the existing certainty of evidence grades from such a review, if it is a well-conducted review. And a special case of using existing systematic reviews includes the use of network meta-analysis. So if the underlying systematic review has already rated the certainty of evidence of the network meta-analysis, then consider just using these grades again. If not, we recommend 2 options to accelerate the process, because as you might know, rating the certainty of evidence for network meta-analysis can be pretty time-consuming. So the first recommendation is that if you have closed loops in your network diagram, currently GRADE guidance recommends rating the certainty of evidence of the direct and the indirect estimates separately, and then together of the estimates of the network meta-analysis. And to accelerate the process, rate only the direct estimates. And if there is incoherence between direct and indirect estimate, then further downgrade. So do not separately also rate the indirect estimate. And if a network meta-analysis presents only indirect estimates, then use standard GRADE guidance, but further downgrade for indirectness. And this deviates from GRADE guidance in a way that comparisons contributing to an indirect estimate are not graded separately, but rather globally. So in summary, about rating the certainty of evidence, when using GRADE for the certainty of evidence in rapid reviews, always maintain consistency with GRADE domains and definitions of certainty of evidence. Rate the certainty of evidence at an outcome level, not at a study level, and use summary of findings tables with explanatory footnotes. To accelerate the application of GRADE, consider focusing on the most important comparisons and outcomes. Consider employing informal judgments of knowledge users, experts, to rate the importance of outcomes. Consider using fewer than 7 outcomes and relying on certainty of evidence ratings of well-conducted systematic reviews if a review is used as the base for a rapid review. The guidance on rating the certainty of evidence in rapid reviews has already been published in more detail in BMJ Evidence-Based Medicine. We'll send out the link through the chat. The paper is open access and everything is described in a bit more detail.